Mefele Mac. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today's topic of discussion is mental wellness. I'm on the conversation on mental wellness. I want to talk about the importance of maintaining and preserving your sense of agency. I think that this is such an important conversation, and I think that oftentimes it's overlooked or it's assumed or it's not something that we necessarily prioritize by way of expanding our sense of agency or our scope of agency and how we do that. And I just want to have that conversation because I'm super big on agency and autonomy. And I think that I am hypersensitive to it just because it was something that I had to fight for, right? So I grew up in an incredibly controlling, very, very strict household where my agency is what I felt was under attack. Like when I moved out for university at 19, it was really my opportunity to make my own decisions because making my own decisions was a fight growing up. And so a lot of people maybe were given the luxury or the privilege of making their decisions, not recognizing that it is a luxury and a privilege that not everyone has, right? Especially in North America, like we assume that everyone has the same level of autonomy and agency. We're all raised in similar households, not recognizing that some of us were choking under the weight of the control that the environment that we were raised in has over us. And so the thing that we want the most or that we seek the most is that agency, that sense of autonomy. I remember going to university, everyone assumed that I would get drunk off of freedom. But I think that I had enough wisdom by way of like recognizing that like just because I had freedom didn't mean I want to make self-destructive, self-sabotaging behaviors. That I want to experiment, yes. That I want to live my life to the fullest, yes. But I wanted to do it in a way where everyone recognized that I was someone who could steward my agency. I could be wise with the agency that I had in place because I had big dreams for my life. I wasn't going to throw it away on a bad decision. And so agency for me did not translate in self-sabotaging behavior. I didn't want to engage in self-sabotaging behavior as a way of expressing my sense of freedom. Like I wasn't resentful. I was just ready and wanted to really make the most of it. And so I think that like as an adult, when we think about agency, there's still so many different factors that are seeking to have some sort of a stake in our agency. I think that it's really important that when we're engaging in different discussions, whether it's socially, whether it's romantically, whether it's professionally, like however it goes, that we're always keeping our own sense of agency in mind and never putting ourselves in a position where we're completely like cutting away our ability to choose. And I think choosing is what makes us human, right? Pretty much most, if not all, species are driven off of instinct, right? It's not choice, it's just pre-programmed elements that enable their survival. Like even birds migrating, they migrate to the same zone. Even if climate change has probably created like different spaces in this world that are probably more conducive to that migration journey, but for us we can choose. And so because we can choose, I think that it's really very important to exercise that choice and to live and learn from those choices. And so we do have two courses that really focalize on this, and that's creating a sense of autonomy and self-efficacy. And one thing about self-efficacy, it is not built without first exercising autonomy. They're very coupled together because we don't know and we don't have confidence in our ability to navigate our own choices and to navigate this world around us until we start doing it and seeing the return, the cause and effect of those choices. And we get better as we navigate, right? So as we build the different muscles, we leverage that experience to make better decisions moving forward. So critical thinking is a muscle that is built with time and experience as well as guidance, right? So you do need to have like a baseline fundamentals as to how to think critically, how to approach problem solving and troubleshooting. But then when you layer in experience, like you have had experience troubleshooting and problem solving, then it makes the exercise of cultivating self-efficacy, a confidence in your ability to be able to navigate and impact the world around you. Like you can make change happen. You can like create ripples with your choices, with your actions, with your behavior in a way that positively impact you and those around you. Cultivating a sense of self-efficacy comes with first exercising that autonomy. And so if you weren't given the guardrails or the training environment growing up, autonomy, the ability to choose and recognize the impact of your choices so that you can refine and fine tune and make better choices, then you have to do it at some point, right? And you're always going to start rusty. You're not going to start being very good at it. But if you don't start somewhere, then you're always going to be offloading your autonomy, your sense of agency on someone else. So when we think about agency as an adult, agency in choosing the career path that you want, agency in choosing the lifestyle that you want to lead, and choosing, what choices are going to benefit you by way of your health long term. All of these are choices that you should feel confident making, and you can only feel confident making by making the wrong choices first sometimes, or by like researching and figuring out like what works best for you. But maximizing on that autonomy, on driving the decisions that impact and shape your life is just super beneficial. That doesn't mean you're always going to make the right choices, right? But it always means that you're taking accountability for the choices that you are making. You make sure that you are the one that you recognize and that you hold responsible accountable for those choices. And so for me, I'm not making the best choices every day. Sometimes when I'm finished work, I feel so tired that all I want to do is veg out. I just want to kind of lay down and just turn my brain off for a little bit. But I have things that I want to do. I have goals that I want to accomplish. So I have to hold myself accountable. So for those days where I decide to veg out, to be lazy, to do nothing, I have to recognize that I'm going to have to double down the next day. I have to like make up for that time lost. And so I recognize that there's no one that I can blame, point fingers at for the goals that I have that are not materializing because of the works that I'm not putting in place, right? So my recognition of that is me understanding that I have the power to impact my life for sure, but I have to exercise agency and the right choices, the right decision making matrix to make that reality come to fruition. And sometimes things are much harder than what we want them to be, but if it means a lot to you, you work at it anyway. But it's you, it's no one else, your life, your rules, your way. And I'm like a huge proponent for that. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about that because I don't think that all of us really do value our agency the same way. We don't think about it explicitly. So I want you to think about like your choices and the decision making that you engage in the day-to-day basis. Like how much or to what extent are those decisions informed by other people, informed by social pressure, informed by the guardian or the parent in your life? What extent do you feel comfortable and capable of making the certain choices of your own? Like what choices would you like to drive? Like what visions do you have that you haven't necessarily had the confidence or to make the choice to make? And why not start that today? And I wanted to just come in here and talk about that because I think that much of what is happening on social media and in the world around us is really, I think, a war on choice, right? Everyone wants us to choose in a way that benefits them, right? When we think about marketing, a lot of marketing strategies really revolve around you making a choice that benefits the person who's selling the product to you. But unless that's a win-win, unless what they're selling is a win for them, but also a win for you, why make that choice? And unless you know how to choose in a way where you're guaranteeing that the things that you choose that benefit others also benefit you, then you need to just take a step back and think about, well, how do I make the kinds of choices that are win-win choices that benefit me as well as the people around me, rather than making choices that benefit other people to your detriment? And some of us are making those kinds of choices. We're making the kind of choices that really do help the people around us, but it ends up putting us in a bad spot. And all of us start off making these kinds of choices, these kinds of concessions that aren't necessarily the best concessions to make. And sometimes they're still the right concessions to make. We can take an element of morality in it where you're making a choice that doesn't necessarily service you, but services the greater good. And to an extent or at a degree or by a portion where you're not completely like devastated as a result of those choices, but you've taken a hit as a result of that choice. And I think that with maturity, with time, with reflection, and with critical thinking, you can make the kinds of choices that might be concessions, but are still beneficial for the greater good. Or you can make the kind of choices where, hey, like rather than this be a choice that puts me, in a deficit, like how can I make a choice that makes everyone win, that help everyone in the long term? And I want you to think a little bit about like your choice and the way that you make choices and to what extent you think about, well, how can I create a choice schema or a matrix that is a win-win where like I'm supporting and benefiting the world around me, but also doing something that is a feel good or do good for myself as well. I don't think that anyone is like 100% altruistic. Like sometimes people make the example of Mother Teresa being like this all altruistic woman, and I don't have beef with Mother Teresa by any means. But if it feels good to do good, then there's no altruism in it, right? Like if there's something self-serving about feeling good, doing good for other people. And while I'll always side with the feeling good to do with doing good that feels good, you want to do good that feels good that is good for you ultimately, right? And so that's what I wanted to come in here and have that conversation around. I wanted to talk about agency, autonomy, valuing our agency and autonomy, not letting people encroach on our agency and autonomy. I think a little bit about partnership, like even romantic partnership. Like in my romantic partnership, like my partner definitely leads, but not in a way that encroaches on my autonomy and my agency. Like I always have the choice as to how I want to position myself around the direction that he's taking us in our family. And I think that like sometimes people think about like, well, how do I protect my agency and my autonomy in a relationship? I think that you just always make sure that you keep your agency and autonomy in mind, right? Like you make sure that the choices that are being made still do benefit you, that you're not allowing choices to be made that hurt you in the long run, and the people that you trust with making choices that impact you are the people who also want win-wins. They want the best for the both of you, right? So even to make those types of choices, I think that they're so important. Even the right partner is such an important choice to make as well. And so I just wanted to come on here. I wanted to have that conversation. I think it's a broader conversation to have. I wanted to start by having you reflect on how you value your sense of autonomy, your sense of agency, and what can you do to create more awareness around when it is the case that what is in question or what is at stake is your agency and your autonomy. And come back here and share it with us and talk about like how you position yourself, protect your agency and autonomy, because our power to choose, our right to choose is something that again is becoming more and more under attack with all of the things happening in the social political arena. But we don't need it to be attacked in our personal in our personal ecosystems, we can protect it personally, which will give us then the acumen and competency to protect it at a more social level, at a more communal level as well. So I wanted to come in here and have that conversation with you. And if you are interested in having more conversations around self-mastery, around alignment, around making the kind of choices that are right for you, but having the fundamentals in place to make those types of choices, then I do suggest that you join in on our programs. We have different workshops that provide these adult development, soft skill learning. And so if that is something that you feel would be of benefit to you as you figure out your path by way of alignment and self-mastery and healing, then I do think that we probably have a program that would be of benefit to you. And check out our website to find more. We also do provide parent-child workshops because we think that focusing on leadership starts young. We don't need to wait till we're adult to unlearn a whole bunch of things to really learn the types of qualities that make for a good leader. I think all of us have a leadership quality within us, or a leadership quotient that we can cultivate, we can build upon. And so we have 4 core programs with the focus. We have our signature, our starter course, which is our self-concept course, which is the precursor to any of our 3 signature courses, focus on autonomy, self-efficacy, and compassion. So those are the programs that we have available. We're so excited to share that with you. Again, we do have a workshop. If you are interested in joining the free 4-week workshop, then I do suggest that you take a look at the survey that we have down below and copy that out. It is going to be hosted on Sunday, February 1st at 9 a.m. PST. And if you're still here, leave a comment down below by way of how you preserve and protect your sense of autonomy and agency. And again, subscribe, like, follow us. Everything helps so much. Help us build this community, focusing on having positive conversations around mental wellness, mental health, and education. And we'll talk to you all very soon.